January 29th by Pastor Jessica Durr, Metropolitan AME's Church, and remain standing for the pledge.
Let's pray. Gracious God, we come now in Jesus' name. We thank you for this life, health, and for strength. We thank you, God, for a new year and a new beginning. God, we ask that you continue to guide the ideas and the thoughts and the vision of our great city, and continue to guide the ideas and thoughts of the leadership of Mobile. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Vice President Manzi.
Here.
Councilmember Richardson.
Here.
Councilmember Small.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Rich. Here. Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Statement of rules.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Glad to have each and every one of you here. These are the rules of the council. We ask first that you would turn off silence all of your electronic devices. Anyone interested in addressing the council must sign in indicating the resolution, ordinance, appeal, or public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. When you address the council, we ask that you clearly state both your name and your home address. Any person desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city's clerk's office on the Thursday preceding the Tuesday. If you'd like to speak, you must do that by 2 o'clock. What you'd like to address the council on must be, and we stress must be, pertinent to City of Mobile business. Anyone who hadn't given that proper notice won't be allowed to address this body. Each speaker is granted 5 minutes. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 4. That lets you know you have 1 minute remains for summarizing. The second bell indicates that your time has expired. And I may not know, the speakers have personal relations with you, so it's not personal. When your time is up, your time is up. When addressing the council, there's to be no personal address to any individual council member. We respectfully request that you make all statements to myself, who sits as chair, and if there's a council member who would like to speak subsequently, they'll have that opportunity. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause and or public outcry allowed. If you get off topic, I'm going to have to let you know that. So I want to just make sure everybody understands the rules. We appreciate your interest in your municipal government. Thank you for being here today. Madam City Clerk.
Approval of minutes of January 22nd.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved.
Communications from the mayor.
Good morning. It's good to see everybody this morning. First, we'd like to recognize Fire Service Captain Big Listen, and I would ask he and Chief Lamy to please approach the podium. And Chief Lamy is going to read the certificate of recognition this morning.
Right.
Vice President Manzi and
Yes,
council
sir.
members, thank you so much for having us today to honor one of our own. We're very appreciative of your time. Captain Barry Glissen's efforts in attaining an improved ISO score have been above and beyond the call of duty. He was an instrumental part in planning a strategy and creating and implementing a plan to take our department to an ISO Class 1 after 48 years of being an ISO 3 or 4. The number of hours put into accomplishment is immeasurable. On numerous occasions, Captain Glissen came in on his off time and devoted precious time away from family in order to ensure success. In addition to all of Captain Glissen's hard work on the ISO score, he tackled the large task of streamlining and condensing the Mobile Fire Rescue Department's policies and procedures, which was about 700 pages at the time. It has been many years since the policies and procedures have been adequately updated, and Captain Glissen weeded through and reorganized our manual for consistency and simplicity. This award not only represents what he accomplished, it represents who he is. Captain Glisson is a servant who is committed to the safety of our community. Words and awards cannot adequately represent the appreciation of the City of Mobile or the Mobile Fire Rescue Department. Now, therefore, on behalf of all the citizens and with our sincere thanks, we are pleased to award this certificate of recognition to him as Firefighter of the Month for January 2019. Thank you for your time. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you. We are incredibly proud of you, Captain Glisson, and hope that you continue to show and exhibit this exemplary leadership for our fire department to have made that great of a leap in that expedited amount of time. It's a credit to our Chief Lamy, and of course, hardworking individuals like yourself. So thank you again so much. We appreciate you. Yes, sir.
Very good. Just backing up kind of chronologically through the past weekend, I would like to say that the Senior Bowl, I think from the respect of everybody that was involved in it, was a huge success. The players, the coaches, the scouts, all the feedback we have gotten has just been incredible, and it's a big positive event for our city. It was amazing the number of people that you ran into on Saturday. Everybody was saying that they were responsible for the weather because it was perfect. It couldn't have been any better. Matter of fact, I was one of those people that said that not only was I responsible, but I'm going to give up that authority, and no longer in the future will I be responsible for the weather for the Senior Bowls. You understand, Counselor?
Yes, sir.
Anyway, great weather, great event, and Jim Nagy and his group did a great job. The Genghis Khan event at the Explorum is something that I highly recommend that you take your family to, or out-of-town guest. I had an opportunity to walk through with the ambassador to the U.S. from Mongolia over the weekend, and so very interesting and certainly educational. So I encourage everybody to please take time to support that. On a more somber note, I would say that I encourage everybody to continue to pray for Officer Sean Tudor's family, who, as we all know, are grieving the loss of Sean. I think that unless you've experienced that kind of situation, you certainly don't understand the grief that they're going through, but I think we all also recognize that the corporate prayer of others helps individuals get through that. A couple of points I would like to make, and those that were there, I think that you saw this, but watching the whole ceremony unfold, the work that goes into the coordinated effort, the policemen come from really all over the country in support of fallen officers, something to behold, and you can't explain it to somebody unless they actually see it. And I want to compliment Director Barber and Chief Batiste and his command staff on really making it a very special occasion for a special situation. And I hope that none of us have to participate in something like that ever again. One of the comments that was heard from another policeman from another location said that he goes to these funerals around the country, but never has he experienced the outpouring of support that he has seen in the city of Mobile. A huge compliment to not just the police department, but also to our entire community. At the service, I made a comment that, really, we're in partnership with our police force. And I don't think a lot of times that we think of it in that terms. But they need us, and we need them. And right now, they really need us. And the reason I say that is that imagine yourself being a policeman right now, today, or last week, maybe more importantly. And when you went home, either your children, your wife, your mom, your dad, or some loved one, or some friend said, "How much longer are you going to do this? Or why are you doing this?" And if you were that policeman, you'd have to be processing that. So when I make the plea to you, as all the citizens of the city of Mobile, reach out to our policemen and tell them you appreciate them. Because it's that sense of gratification, being known that they are appreciated, will help them process their decision on continuing to do that. Director Barber told me, just as we were getting in the elevator, that we've had our first fallout from this incident, and that's that we've had a police officer resign. And, again, I just say that we're in a partnership. We have got to have qualified, engaged policemen. So let's do our part. Let's reach out to them. If there's things we can do to benefit them, please do it. Because we have a really good police department, and now's our turn to do what we're supposed to do. Because even that Sunday afternoon, after the situation, there were still sirens going on, other policemen going to other calls. They cannot stop doing what they do every day. So thank you very much for that consideration. My last comment be still in the area of safety, and that is, we have a right to carry pistols, have them in our car or whatever. Some people have, pistol permits for that. But for gosh sakes, if you are carrying a pistol, if you have one in your car, lock it up. Lock it up, or either just don't put it in your car. I mean, you may have been riding around for 15 years and needed it. But when it gets stolen, you can rest assured if it gets stolen, it's going to end up somewhere. More than likely than not, it will be in a crime scene. So please consider that and kind of pass that word on. That's one of the things that we can do to support our policemen. So thank you very much for your consideration, and thank you for your continued prayers for the Tudor family and for supporting our men in blue.
Vice President Manzi.
Yes, sir, Mr. Small.
Yeah, I'd like to comment behind the mayor, and I do appreciate the mayor comments on this morning. And Mr. Mayor, I believe I can speak to every councilman here that we do support you in anything that we can do to support law enforcement and also first responders. I believe that we will do it, especially back in the blue. But we do support our policemen, law enforcement, 100%. And to your last comment, Mr. Mayor, about locking guns up, I would like to ask our public relations person, Mrs. Marion, and also our attorney to get together. Last year I spoke about creating some type of resolution to send to the State House in regards of finding people that leave their guns in their cars unsecured. And I really believe that this council should, and also the administration should, get together to come up with a resolution to send to the State House to go ahead and promote them to go ahead and pass a law for some kind of way we can find these individuals, people that are leaving their guns unattended. Again, most of the crimes that are committed in this area, in this city, in this region, is coming from stolen guns, and we got to do something to stop these guns from being stolen, especially from unsecured cars. And again, I would like for our public relations person and our attorney to get together, and I'm going to ask the council to support this resolution so we can send it to the State House, especially this new legislative year for our representatives to go ahead and get this passed so we can start finding these people heavy. Again, because we have many lives are being lost every day because of guns are being stolen from vehicles and that are unsecured. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Anyone else would like to?
I would just like to say that as bad as we would like to pass a law controlling guns, the state law will not permit a municipality to pass any laws pertaining to guns. only the state can pass a law pertaining to guns and ammunition. There is absolutely nothing we can do. It's like Councilman Small said, it's a lot of things we want to do. It's a lot of things we believe that we could do to curb violence as it relates to guns. Our hands are tied. This is a gun-carrying state. Like it or not, this is a gun-carrying state. There are states like New York where citizens are forbidden from carrying guns. Alabama, yes, you can carry your gun. In fact, you can carry your gun to church. It's just the way it is. We might not like it, but until the state change, that's why Councilman Small is saying we're going to need to send a resolution to the State House. Because if they don't change it, there is absolutely nothing we can do. And I would imagine if it gets worse, they may do something, but that's what it's going to take. Now it's going to, more people are going to have to die, more people are going to lose their lives before they do anything, because they're trying to protect gun owners. That's what they're trying to protect.
Mr. Vice President, if I may.
Mr. Williams?
I have read some of the emails that have been passed around and talking California gun control laws and really about their effectiveness, but a lot of talk about controlling guns and telling people how to transport and how to control. If I were to support a resolution, it would have to be more about responsibility, because that's what the mayor's talking about. It's about being a responsible gun owner, and it's about once a person's found non-responsible or not responsible, then, because it is a very serious responsibility to have a secured weapon if you choose to carry. But if you don't, if you lose it, there should be immediate actions required. If those actions aren't taken, then there is consequences. And if your weapon is used to commit a crime, there ought to be a shared shared action. Let's say that. I'm interested to work with the administration and Mr. Small. I know that Mr. Small's been about this whole time, and I support his action, and I look forward to working with him. Thank you.
Mr. Vice President.
Mr. Small?
Yes, to my colleague, Mr. Williams, this idea pretty much came from the National League of Cities last year. We sat down with several elected officials, and I was discussing the issues that we have in our community, and they were saying that they do not have those issues in their communities, and they went to explaining why. So I would advise, Mr. Williams to have one of the secretaries or to look into this law, and also contact some representatives in California to see the outcomes of why, things they don't experience and things they do experience and everything. But that's this is this idea from representatives from California, and it seems to be working for them, and I believe it can be working for us, especially if we make the punishment or the fine, healthy. Thank you.
If I could comment.
Mr. Daves.
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
Mrs.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. There are some things we know. We know that people who own firearms are leaving them in vehicles, unlocked vehicles, in plain sight in vehicles. We know that these firearms are being stolen, taken out of these vehicles, and we know that these firearms are being used in the commission of crimes within the city limits of the city of Mobile. We know those things. There's no doubt about them. So the question is, what can we do about it? The U.S. Constitution provides certain rights. We live in a state in which very little power to address a number of issues is left to municipalities by the state government. But I think we should leave no stone unturned to figure out what can be done in order to reduce the number of instances of firearms being taken from vehicles. Has nothing to do with the right to possess the firearm, but if you're going to possess the firearm, you have to possess it prudently. And leaving these firearms visible in vehicles, in unlocked vehicles, is not responsible. I can't imagine there isn't something we do on either the state or local level to address this very, very important public safety issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mrs. Rich?
Thank you. I know for the last at least 2 or 3 years, whenever there's a public safety meeting out in the district, I hear from personnel with our police who talk about people being more responsible with their guns because of the number of crimes that are committed. And we know that the crime initially of stealing the gun out of somebody's personal vehicle is actually the start of the crime, but there is a huge level of responsibility of the owner of the gun. And to make sure, as Councilman Daves has already mentioned, being very cognizant of the possession of that gun and how you keep it safe and out of harm's way. I was asked to address this in my newsletter, and as sensitive as it was to go through the loss of our officer when it was made known that the handgun used was from a stolen out vehicle, I felt the need to again inform the leadership that comes from my office to please take that extremely seriously. And yes, we should look at resources and recourses that we can have, but the first thing is the person's owner responsibility. And if everyone will please take that to heart, as the mayor said, to cooperate with our police, that's keeping that under a check and a balance at all times. So please, I urge citizens in Mobile to be very responsible gun owners. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mrs. Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I think you can hear from our responses that we all tend to agree with what is being said, that something has to be done in order to protect our citizens. And it's a question of what do we do, how do we do it to make people be responsible for having firearms. As Beth said, for years, we have had community meetings, and I've had captains of my precinct come and talk about unlocked vehicles and having things left in plain sight for people to steal. One of my precinct commanders said it's like going fishing. They stay where the fishing's good. And if you've got all sorts of cars lined up either parked on the street or even in driveways, and those cars are unlocked and you can see valuable, including firearms, purses, computers, you name it, in plain sight, what do you think these people are going to do? They keep coming back night after night or even during broad daylight and breaking into vehicles. We're talking about handguns here, which, as Bess mentioned, and we all know, the handgun that was used to kill Officer Tudor had been stolen from a vehicle. So it just brings it back around for us to think about what we can do, and I appreciate CJ suggesting looking at these other states' ordinances and what can we do. So I think, again, we are all in agreement that something has to be done, and this council is willing to look at it, to work with our police department and the administration to find the best solution. But again, it comes down to responsibility. While we're working on this, everyone in this city, if you want a firearm and you put it in your vehicle, you've got to be responsible for what happens to that firearm when you get out of the car or the truck. So think about that.
And I agree with my colleagues wholeheartedly. I was not here for the meeting last week, but I want to express publicly my condolences to Officer Tudor's family, to all of his law enforcement family that is suffering right along with his wife. And I just publicly say that I support the hard work of our law enforcement, both police and fire. It's a tough job, and it's getting tougher every day. The environment they have to work in order to provide safety and security to our citizens is one that is not a situation that everybody can handle. And in times like these, I often run to Scripture. And one that reads in John the 15th chapter, 13th verse, that greater love that no man has shown than to lay down his life for a friend. And that's what each and every officer potentially could do every day that they sign in and they clock in and that they go to work. And so this council has shown itself to be supportive of every initiative brought forward to support our public safety, and I believe we'll continue to do so. I think that's a great idea, Councilman Small. A resolution, something to let our legislative delegation know that we would like changes and in what regard we'd like those changes to be made. And I hope that's an initiative that you will head up, and if we need to formally create a committee to work on it, I'm all in favor of that. Because to have had 2 incidences of this nature in less than a year, I believe that's overtaxing on our department. And even from abroad, I want to commend Mayor Stimson, I want to commend Director Barber and Chief Batiste. We have our personal issues of disagreement, but in these circumstances, they really exhibited a great level of leadership, and leadership that needed to be exhibited so that those impacted, the Tudor family, and most importantly, all of these officers and families of officers, that leadership was there, and I know it'll continue to be there. And I want to publicly thank you all on behalf of our citizens, because I know emotionally, most so probably for the director and for Chief Batiste and even Stimson, emotionally that had to be and continues to be quite draining. So we thank you for that continued leadership over the last 12 months as we felt this impact in 2 different instances. And so the family will continue to be in my prayers. I solicit not only you all's prayers, but let us support them financially to the degree that we can, and try to put ourselves, if at all possible, in their shoes to see that there's such a senseless tragedy, and we thank them thank him for his service to the community, and ultimately for giving of his life.
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second that we would move forward our agenda. All in favor? First off, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals, we have requests for a waiver of the noise ordinance on March 3rd from 11:30 a.m. until 6 p.m. and March 5th from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. on St. Anthony Street.
So moved.
Properly motion and second, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Public hearings. Today is the public hearing to rezone property at 5560 Todd Acres Drive, north side of Todd Acres Drive, 0.2 of a mile west of Commerce Boulevard West, from B5 to I-1.
Is there anyone here that would like to offer any commentary relative to this public hearing? If not, public hearing is closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Brian Carberry.
While Mr. Carberry is coming, I want to acknowledge the student council from the Indian Springs Elementary School.
All right.
And their advisors. Did you want to, at least let us know who you are? Advisors from Indian Springs, and also is the president, vice president. I want to acknowledge them and let you know we appreciate you coming to our meeting today. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Jasmine. I have Ms. Kawana Johnson and Ms. Heather Cole, our student council and National Television Society.
Wonderful.
We have our president, first vice, and second vice, class representatives, and NEHS members.
Okay, stand up, Madam President. Let's see. Okay. All right. Where is your vice president? Okay. Any other officers? Secretary, treasurer? How would that work? Secretary? They didn't come. What about the Honor Society?
If you're in the Honor Society, stand up.
Well, congratulations on being a leader in your school. That is so wonderful. Many of us that are sitting behind these desks now started in student council. I know I did. And so we appreciate you coming. And to the advisors, thank you all for imparting so much wisdom and knowledge and time into these young students. Let's give them, all of them again, a big round of applause. Thank you all for coming. Mr. Carberry.
Hey, good morning, Mayor Stimpson, Vice President Manzi, council members, and all the distinguished guests here. I did do a little presentation for everybody, but I don't know if you've got it, so we'll go from there.
Mr. Carberry, we need your address.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
I'm Brian Carberry. I'm 6701 Pintucky Road South here in Mobile. I'm with the Mobile Kennel Club, and I'm here to talk to you about our kennel club. The Mobile Kennel Club was founded in 1921. We actually did our first dog show in 1922 here in the city of Mobile, Alabama. Over the decades, the show has moved around for many reasons. It's been held outdoors near Bellingrath Gardens. It's been held at the Coliseum, the Greater Gulf Coast Fairgrounds. It's been held in Pascagoula. And in the 40s, for the people who remember, it was actually even held at the Fort Whiting Auditorium at Brookley Field. Sadly, for the last decade, we found it necessary to hold our show out of state due to the lack of a show venue capable of handling our show. However, we have worked with the grounds, and they have done some work on their facility, and we're proud to announce that our annual dog show, the Gulf Coast Classic, is coming back to Mobile, Alabama starting this year. We project bringing over 1,000 purebred dogs every day to the grounds, or the Greater Gulf State Fairgrounds, each day from September 5th through the 8th. Every year we draw some of the top show dogs from around the country. Last year we had 43 different states represented, Puerto Rico and Canada. We have played host to Westminster winners of the National Dog Show in Long Beach and Orlando. Some of the council members have even had that opportunity to have their pictures taken with those Westminster winners. In addition to all of the purebred dogs that we will have there, we're doing a lot of exciting things that the ground allows us to do for the public. We're going to be having a lot of activities that the public can get involved in with their not so purebred dogs. And that's what's really exciting to us right now. One of the items that we're doing is dock diving. And a lot of these sports really play to the activities that people here in southern Alabama already do with their dogs, like dock diving. It's retrieving. You know, if your dog jumps into water to retrieve a goose or a duck or whatever, that's dock diving. Coursing ability and what they call fast cat. A lot of people say, man, my dog can run fast. Well, here's your opportunity to find out exactly how fast your dog can run, how fast it chases something. Barn hunt. You know, it's a competition for dogs that were bred to get vermin out of barns. They set up a little hay bale maze, and they go find the protected rat. No rats are injured while doing this. And the other one is scent work. It's about dogs that follow their nose. We have a lot of hunters here who hunt with dogs, and that's what this activity is for. Or the drug dogs, or those type of situations. We also, for the public, have vendors there selling top-end dog products that the professionals use, from shampoos, scissors. We call them leads. Most people call them leashes, and a lot of other items. So I know some of you are probably saying, okay, well, that's nice. What does it mean for the city? Because, it's just a dog show. But you remember that on the other end of every lead is a person. That's where it starts to benefit the city. The first slide, the first exhibit in the presentation, it shows dogs that have come to our show over the years. The orange line is a trend line. As you can see, we are trending positively. over the last, 7, 8 years, and we are going to continue to trend positively. Despite having so years, last year was a very good year. The year before, not much, but there was a little thing called a hurricane in Houston, and I'm headed for Florida, and people weren't really focused on dog showing for some reason in Mississippi. I don't know why. But, with all the dogs come, we're going to have about 900 exhibitors, the people on the other end of the lead. Those 900 exhibitors all need to eat and sleep. That's where the benefit comes in, and that would be slide 2, or the second page of the presentation. Oops, I guess I'm done. No, I missed the first buzzer. Well, I'm sorry. But you can see here, we're going to need about 369 hotel rooms. And the last one is real importance to everybody here. Our dog show, from the people spending money, will bring in about $460,000 to the city of Mobile, most of it in hotel rooms and food. So.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
If I could comment?
Sure, Mrs.
Yeah.
Rich.
The council will notice on today's agenda is a discretionary amount that districts will be giving to this initiative, and I hope that other colleagues would give it great thought as well. And I know that I can help you get in touch with Brian, who is very active in the club and is kind of the glue that holds everything together. He and his wife both. I'll give her great credit as well. And if you've not witnessed one of these shows, the entry to get into the show is free. Now, these other things that will go on, I think there's a fee, and we'll hopefully get all this information out to the public. But this is really a fabulous time to see every breed of dog to man, and they're magnificent with their handlers. So it's a great learning opportunity for children and adults, because I learned a lot. I know that Ms. Gregory was out there as well in the past, and so I'm so glad it's in Mobile, and thank you for all those efforts to make that work for Mobileans to have this so close by the weekend after Labor Day.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Mrs. Gregory?
I want to echo what Mrs. Rich said. I've been to the show once, I think, and it was in Mississippi, and everybody has to wonder, why is the Mobile Dog Show in Mississippi? So thankfully, we are able to bring it back to Mobile, where it should be. If you've ever watched the Westminster or any of the other dog shows on TV and seen what it looked like, and you had questions about why are they doing this and what's that dog, and just kind of exclaimed over the various types of dogs. I mean, it really is a lot of fun to witness, and you can see it firsthand out at the fair, at the grounds. And I think it really is a learning experience to see how the handlers work with their dogs. I think it's a lost cause, but it's really great to watch them with their dogs on a lead, and how these dogs are so attentive, even with all the people around in the audience. They are watching those handlers, and they are trained so well. It's just amazing. So I think it'll be a fun opportunity, especially with all of these activities that you're planning, for all the kids and families to come out and be a part of this. And again, it's great to have it back in Mobile.
I certainly agree with Councilor Gregory. We're happy to have the Mobile Kennels Club's show back in the city of Mobile. We hope we can continue to have it here, and I'm hopeful that I'll have the opportunity to come out. I'm a natural dog person, don't have the time, but love to see them, and I watch a lot of these Westminster programs on television. And so, again, thank you, Mr. Carberry, and your wife for your leadership in making sure that it's back here in the city.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Reggie Hill.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, Mayor Simpson, citizens and stakeholders of Mobile, good morning.
Good morning.
Reggie Hill, 1007 Center Street. I've signed up today to speak regarding public safety, and I want to thank everyone for the great introduction to this topic. I believe everyone has some great sentiments leading into this, so I believe it will be very fitting for me to continue this on behalf of the citizens' perspective. I want to, before I begin, apologize to Councilwoman Gregory. You all had a week knowing that I would be on the agenda to speak about this topic, and there were no hors d'oeuvres at the pre-council meeting today, so my tone may be a little bit different.
What did we were going with that?
But forgive me. I believe it will be something that is worthwhile for each of us to hear. At the preliminary portion of this meeting, our chairman of the council referenced a biblical verse, and I want to do the same. I'm not a minister like the Reverend, so I might not be able to quote it exactly, but I can tell you what the intent of it is. We look back at the story of Cain and Abel. There was a rock that was used. So I don't believe that the issue here is a gun problem. I believe the issue here is a heart problem. The issue here is a mindset problem. And I believe until we're able to begin looking at the strategies that will improve the quality of learning, the quality of accepting each other, the quality of living to be one Mobile, these incidents will continue to occur and probably will increase at a rapid rate. I love the idea of outpouring of support in this previous incident that just happened with our student. I send my condolences to his family. I would love to see that same enthusiasm towards proactive measures to prevent incidents from like this from occurring. Any of us know that an adult doesn't wake up wanting to kill anyone. A 19-year-old person doesn't just wake up wanting to kill anyone, wanting to be violent. These are things that are adapted over time. These are things that you develop throughout the course of your life. When you're missing those pieces of the puzzle to create a great quality of life, this is when we begin to see acts that do not resemble a good person who is a contributing citizen. I'm so proud to see these young people here from Indian Springs who are potential leaders, who can create solutions, who can begin being the difference, because the word also says that we should look for the child for the example. We look to that child. And that's what we should start in this research here. The councilman last week, who was acting chairman and I, suggested that we should have a proposal of a professional to come forth. Now, I normally keep very great decorum in this meeting, but I was a little moved by that, knowing that since 2016, I've been presenting proposals to the council, to the administration. Some of those things have been overlooked. I understand it's a government process, things happen. But if we're going to ask for those things when we have professionals, someone who has certification in juvenile delinquency and suicide prevention, someone who has a master's of education in curriculum and instruction, so you're developing these concepts that will alleviate these problems that we're facing, it's just ironic to me that we haven't taken the opportunity to look at those things. I look at the amount of resources that we spend towards actually eradicating some of these problems. We look at the Lowe's and Associates contract, nearly $300,000 that was spent towards taking surveys. We haven't seen much of the results of that yet. Only $5,250 allocated towards at-risk youth. And these are the things that we hear throughout the city, that is youth violence rising as a cause for these issues. So we have solutions at the table. Mobile, 74 years older than the country. We are the innovators. So these 8 primary seats right here, you are innovators. We don't need to go to outside sources looking for things when we have the tools right here. So I wouldn't have had enough time to present a proposal as the councilman asked in 5 minutes. So what I want to formally do is request, and I will have the letter sent to her office today, is that the chair of the Public Committee hosts a meeting. I want us to be able to speak, to make a patient in. Hopefully we have someone from the administration to come in and do it as well. Hopefully we can have all the members of that committee and all members of the city to sit there as well. So you can actually see the data, the metrics, the evaluation, how we can do this, looking at a timeline, so that I don't have to send a proposal and it get overlooked, not viewed. And I don't have any disdain about that. I'm not upset about that. People would never understand the extremist work and responsibilities that you have on a daily basis. That's not the issue. But when we have something in front of us and we say we want to get something done, we say we want to make this thing better, we actually need to do that. And I think we have the opportunity to do that. So I'll send a formal letter. Hope that the chairman of that committee will respond. We can actually get towards creating solutions. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Fabian Olinsky.
I'm Fabian Olinsky, 104 Fenwick Road. Mayor Stimson and Vice President Manzi.
Yes, sir.
I'll start with my presentation. Mention that my favorite people started with my father has been the police. It wasn't a time when my daddy didn't take a policeman next door from his store to have coffee. And since Mardi Gras is coming, there's going to be more policemen downtown than you've never seen before. And so I'm urging everyone downtown to go up, tell the policemen how much we appreciate them. Also, so that for all the responders, first responders. I came before you this morning to talk about the parking situation in downtown Mobile. I've spent a few years in downtown, so I think I know a little bit what's going on. 14 years ago, I came before the council to talk about having the Mobile Alliance. At that time, I knew all 7 council people personally. And with that, it only passed 5-2. And it turned out to be a great thing for downtown Mobile. And we always appreciate when people, like people on the council, comes down to downtown, especially Fred Richardson, who started the Moon Pie, which I think was one of the best things that ever happened to downtown Mobile.
Amen.
But you never threw me a moon pie.
Throw him a moon pie now.
Anyway, if most people that have been downtown know there's a new sheriff in downtown as far as the parking situation, it's turned over to the Republic Parking, which I don't disagree with the things that have been projected. The only thing that really hurt is that the downtown merchants didn't get involved with the parking situation. I was hoping by some chance they would come around to the businesses and get their input, but they didn't. So I don't want these 14 years to go by and have things happen that might deter the growth of downtown Mobile. Some things needs to be spelled out besides the agenda that I got with the Republic Parking. Some things have to be really spelled out. In the many years I've been downtown, some things I never knew. I never knew you could get 3 parking citations in one day. I don't know if y'all are aware of it, that one of the people came in my store and said, I got 3 parking tickets. I never knew that was going to occur with the new parking situation. Also, in the many years I've been downtown, I never knew that you could get a parking ticket after 5 o'clock. So, a couple of suggestions that I have for you. Number one, I think that parking tickets should stop at 4 o'clock. If you come downtown and you look around the streets at 4 o'clock, there's plenty of parking spaces. So if the object is to keep people from parking all day, this should not be given tickets after 4 o'clock, in my opinion. Also, what about Saturday and Sundays? What about holidays? all this should be spelled out completely so we can post it on our store windows saying the information is available. So I'm not here to confront the city on the parking. I'm just here to make suggestions. So that's why I'm here. And thank you very much for listening to me today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Olinsky. Is there anyone from Mr. West?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I know the mayor and the administration certainly appreciate Mr. Olinsky's comments and suggestions. Mr. Snowden, Joe Snowden, who is our waterfront and transportation director, is here today, and he's prepared to address certainly the question that Mr. Olinsky had in his written statement to the council, which is how parking regulations work after hours and on weekends. But in addition, I think I would ask Mr. Snowden to comment briefly on the outreach that did occur. Obviously, the outreach did reach out as far as Mr. Olinsky, and for that we apologize. But Mr. Snowden and Republic have conducted a fairly intense public outreach program, and I'd like him to comment on that if he would.
Good afternoon. I'm Joe Snowden. I've been brought on to help coordinate activities with public parking. And when I was brought on board in November, the contract was going to be initiated in December. So what we immediately did is we started reaching out to the community and talking with folks on an individual basis because it was going to begin in December. As things rolled in, our personal objective to meet with every individual, meet with them where the complaint was at, look at what the issues were, and to resolve it with common sense. In the long term, we're developing a bigger parking plan because there's a lot of moving parts to the city. There's a lot of different needs. We've been listening to all those needs. We've also met with the Downtown Alliance to hear their needs. So that's all been incorporated into this master plan. And this master plan is going to be presented next week. We're going to be meeting with internal stakeholders to get further input from and incorporate that in the plan. Also to meet with the Downtown Alliance and the merchants to ensure that meets their needs and to make sure everyone has a say. Like one thing that we heard was we need parking downtown for our workers. That's why they're parking all day long next to the restaurants. We heard that. So in the plan, we're proposing certain zones where hospitality workers can go down, park at a lower rate close to the sites, but not in the primary prime sites. So that's all been in the plan. It's in the final stages right now, and we're going to be presenting, like I said, next week. We'll be presenting that with all the stakeholders. So we're still gathering input, trying to make it the best parking experience downtown. To encourage people to come downtown, and when they come downtown to enjoy the activities, they have a good chance of getting a premier parking spot near where they want to be in their venue. And as for parking on Saturday and Sunday, there's no enforcement on the weekends or after 6, and on all major federal holidays, no enforcement. And we'll advertise that. That will be on a website that we're establishing this week, so people can go there and get all that information.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mr.
Good.
Daves, and then Councilman Richardson.
I'd like to just thank Mr. Olinsky for coming down today and talking to the City Council. Mr. Olinsky and his family have been downtown merchants for a long time, and appreciate your continuing to operate downtown. You know, in some ways you can look at this as a good problem. If we're running out of parking downtown, it's a good problem, but it's a problem that needs to be addressed, and certainly the regulations with respect to parking in metered spaces need to be clearly understood and well publicized. But this is a good discussion, and I appreciate your efforts and the administration's efforts to address what is, again, a good problem to have. Thank you.
Right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Mr. Snowden?
Yes.
Are you related to any of the Snowdens in Conecuh County?
Maybe. I don't know. My dad was in the Navy, so we lived a lot of different places. In my family prior to that was Army, so that we've been a lot of places, so I might be.
Okay, it's a Connecticut County name. I was just wondering whether or not Evergreen, you had any relatives in Evergreen. Okay. I was going to call them out, but since you're not out of this league.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I want to join my colleagues, Mr. Davis, in thanking Mr. Olinsky and his family, long-time roots in downtown. And so your concerns and questions, I know have not fallen on deaf ears from our perspective, certainly from Mr. Snowden and the administration. And I agree with Councilman Davis, it's a good problem to have. We got 2 or 3 issues right now: the food trucks, the parking, and all of these issues that a lot of people are interested in, are passionate about. And I believe we've got the right leadership in place to find the solutions, but it's going to continue to take, I ask it from people like yourself, Mr. Olinsky. We're listening and hopeful that this new plan, I hope you will continue to involve him.
Yes.
He's passionate about the issue, so if there's a committee of stakeholders, hopefully he can be included so that we can find a happy medium.
Absolutely.
But again, as Councilman Davis was saying earlier, it's a great problem to have, because I can remember when this was not an issue at all. You could really, because there was no vibrancy, no interest. It's the reverse. And so thank you for your leadership, and thank you for coming.
I have a quick question.
Mrs.
if I
Rich?
may.
Yes.
Is Republic Parking going to give anything to merchants where they can place in the window your call letters for your app or a phone number if people have questions? Because that would probably be good for the merchants.
Yes, ma'am. That's part of our communications plan. In fact, there's we've advertised right now with the city saying, hey, Republic's in town, these are the websites, they're coming online. And I'll be working with the Downtown Alliance to ensure that information gets out where people can call if they have issues. And we can start advertising those non-enforcement days so people can come down.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Snowden, are
Yes.
you with Republic or with the...
I'm with the city. I'm there, but I'm kind of like oversight, because when issues come up from citizens, they can call me. Anyone can call me, and I'll work directly with Republic to get them back on track.
And your position is what now?
I'm the waterfront coordinator, and I also deal with the other bigger transportation issues for the city.
Recently?
Recently, as of the end of November, I was brought on board.
Because I can remember, it seems like I remember another gentleman who might have had this position.
Yes, Pat Brennan.
Yes,
Pat Brennan retired again from the Coast Guard. I'm out from the Coast Guard.
All right. Well, thank you for your service, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Richardson.
To sort of help measure the progress we have made downtown, Mr. Olinsky came before us some years ago and told us that at high noon, if someone fired a shotgun down Dolphin Street, they wouldn't hit anybody. Am I right, Fabian? Okay. But today he is saying that we got problems with parking. I'm just saying, we have come from we're bound to have a problems from a dead town to a town that's alive. So we just have to work them out, but we're bound to develop problems as we grow, and these are growing pains that we have to work out, but it shows you we have come from a mighty long ways. We're doing good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk.
Consent resolutions held over. 30046, recommended approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a lounge retail liquor Class 2 package store license for B&D package store on South Broad Street.
Motion level for 1 week?
Yes, sir. Second. Been properly motion second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items laid over 1 week.
Resolutions held over. If there are no objections, I'll take all of these together.
Please.
21078, authorized contract with Gorham Air Conditioning Company for City of Mobile, Alabama Cruise Terminal, Seaport Passenger Boarding Bridge, HVAC, and Canopies. 21079, authorized contract with Thomas Industries for Civic Center Arena West Low Roof Repairs. 21080, authorized contract with R. Carter and Associates for fire suppression systems inspections, various City of Mobile locations. 21081, authorized contract with Allen Consulting for annual independent actuarial analysis for the city's workers' compensation program. 21082 and 083 are authorizing professional services contracts with Connie Dees to provide services as a payment clerk in the circuit and municipal court, and Cynthia Curry to provide services as a drug lab technician in the circuit and municipal courts. 21084, authorized contract with Thompson Engineering for 2018 pay-go.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
Ordinance is being introduced for the first time, 64004 through 14005.
Said resolutions, said ordinance that will level for by council rules.
Consent resolutions being introduced, 03087 through 60090.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of resolutions 03087 through 60090.
Second.
Properly motion and second, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No objection, I'll take all of these together. 03087, appoint Brenda Rhodes to the Mobile Tennis Center Advisory Board. 08088, approve purchase orders for the week of January 21st. $273,799.27. 60089, determine expenditure of discretionary funds for contribution to the Mobile Kennel Club serves a public purpose and approve payment. 60090, approve award of special bonus to the firefighter of the month as part of the mayor's incentive program. Barry Glisson.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
CIP resolutions being introduced, 01091 through 21095.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of resolution 01091 through 21095.
Second.
Properly motion and second, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
01091, authorized agreement with the University of South Alabama to upgrade the section of Mobile Street leading to the medical center by adding street lighting and other improvements, and authorizing the city to contribute $150,000 toward the project. 13092, authorized change order number 1 for innovating St. Louis Street Mobile Technologies Corridor, adding $31,050. 21094, authorized contract with Iker Construction Corp. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed 93. 21093, authorized contract with S. Bailier for Crawford Murphy Park grading and drainage improvements, $19,525. 21094, authorized contract with Iker Construction Corporation for Henry Aaron Park Playgrounds, $338,700. 21095, authorized contract with Iker Construction Corporation for Mims Park bleachers and batting cages, $49,000.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second, any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to start off with 01091, improvement for Mobile Street. We have 3 distinguished gentlemen with us today who were also with us at pre-council. That's how important this particular resolution is. We have Mr. Abe Mitchell, we have Mr. James Spafford, and Mr. Warren Green. I think Warren, are you the assistant administrator that I'm talking about? And if you look, if you saw the Mitchell Cancer Center, that is the Mitchell over there. Anyway, the City of Mobile and District 1 partnered with USAID to improve Mobile Street. I took the council along Mobile Street was full of holes and In fact, the emergency vehicles, even though it was the shortest route to USA, you could see USA from Springhill Avenue. They didn't go down that street. It was ditches on both sides, holes and hollers in the street. They drove all the way up to Stanton Road. It took Stanton to Costa Rica Street, Costa Rica to Stanton Fitting Gym, and over. By that time, the person in the ambulance could possibly be dead. So, I got with the highway department. We got it from the state to transform Mobile Street, make it 3 lanes. But we also, USA wanted Mobile Street be the gateway to the hospital. So they joined in with us, and we have spent lots of money out there beautifying Mobile Street. Today, Mobile Street is leading the pack. It has not only, what has happened on Mobile Street not only transformed that area, it transformed those citizens. We had rundown houses, blight. You can't find any of that along Mobile Street. You'll be hard pressed to find one piece of paper on the side of Mobile Street. Those people are so proud. When we have our CAG meetings with our police captain there, they turn in every criminal. They are determined for Creighton to be the safest area in the city of Mobile. Prior to us transforming Mobile Street, they had a little interest in all of that. But since we upgraded Mobile Street, it has been a complete transformation, and I would like to commend USA and all of your efforts in helping us with this. In fact, it is USA that cut the grass and trim and edge up Mobile Street from Spring Hill Avenue to USA. That's not the city doing that. That's USA, because they are bound and determined to let none of those other hospitals outlook them. They want to look just as good. When you're driving into Mobile to USA, they want you to have the same feeling as you have when you drive into Mobile Infirmary or any other hospital or Providence. And I think when you go down that street, you better not wait until the flowers start blooming. You might not even believe you're on your way to USA. It is most beautiful. So we're spending another $150,000 because the west side of the street has all the trees, blooming flowers. They got banners and everything going over there. We finally made the sidewalk uniform on the east side, but we didn't come back with all of the banners and all that we had on the west side. We want both sides to look alike. We want both sides to be equal. So we're spending additional money to bring the east side of that street up, and we're going to declare that to be the premier street in the city of Mobile. We'll challenge you to find any street in Mobile that will look better than Mobile Street. It is on the move. And the last comment would be on Aaron Park. I don't believe we have another children's park in this city. We have lots of parks, but a park that's dedicated only to children, you had to come to District 1. Aaron Park was once a park for everybody. What we found out is that up at Figures Park, we had grown people and grown kids, big kids and little kids up there, and we had too many complaints about the bigger kids jumping on little kids. So we said, no, we're going to make Aaron Park the children's park. From 12 down, from 13 up, you go up to Figures Park, and it's working out. So we are spending $338,000 on these little children. I met with the family. I had them to bring the children with us. I had them to tell us what they wanted. We ordered it, and we were getting ready to install it. You just give us some money when you ride by there, you will see a transformation at Aaron's Park, and we're updating all of our parks. All of our parks. We're focusing today on Aaron Park and Mobile. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Richardson, and I want to thank Ms. Harden, Nick Amberg, all of the individuals connected with these CIP initiatives. I'm excited about what will be taking place at Crawford Murphy. We've really deployed a lot of resources into that park. It's very well used, not only by the neighbors in the vicinity of the park, but also from those who live in the surrounding area. It's one of our most diverse parks in Mobile, and this drainage initiative go a long way for more of that land to be utilized by football and track. Everybody's out there and they're enjoying that park, which is what we want. So I'm happy to see us move forward with this agenda item. I ask for your support. Any other comments? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
Resolutions being introduced for the first time, 250996 through 61098.
Like Council said, the resolution will live for 1 week.
Call for public hearings. 41099, call for public hearing to rezone property at 956 Mobile Street, east side of Mobile Street, 48 feet south of Boyette Street, extending to the south side of Boyette Street from R1 to B1, scheduled February 26th.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is called.
Announcements.
Mr. Small.
Thank you, Vice President Manzi.
Yes, sir.
This past Saturday, the Parkway Senior Center had its fundraiser, spaghetti fundraiser. It was a great success. They appreciate everyone for coming out and supporting them, as they are very excited about the additional rooms they are about to get. The funds that's from this fundraiser is to go into the Senior Center for future endeavors, such as the fitness room and workout area. Again, we like to thank the church and the community for investing on this past Saturday. Our seniors, we do know that we love our seniors, especially the ones in District 3 and South DIP. On this afternoon at 12 p.m., we will have the Public Work Investigation Committee that will meet on the 9th floor, again at 1:00 p.m. To discuss the Public Works investigation. The Attorney Sims, he will be present to answer questions that the councilors may have. Again, this would be at 1:00 p.m. today on the 9th floor. Thank you, Vice President Manzi.
Yes, sir. Mrs. Gregory?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Appreciate that. On announcement today, I want to remind everyone who is interested in 3 Mile Creek Greenway phase of work that we are getting ready to start. We will have some meetings beginning tomorrow. There are a number of opportunities. We were trying to break them into segments so that those who have a special interest would be able to get a little bit more one-on-one meeting time. But if you are not able to make one, you can certainly come to one of the others. We'll start at 9 o'clock, and then there is one at 10:30, 11:30, and then 1:30, as well as a meeting from 4 until 6 evening, which hopefully will help those who are working during the daytime to make the nighttime meeting. We will provide the same information at every session. And what this is, we are getting ready to work on the creek that runs behind Spring Hill Avenue. It goes from I-65 around where the McCoy Shopping Center is down to the Japanese Gardens. That's the segment that we're looking at. And we want to make sure that all of the residents who live nearby have an opportunity to see what's in store and to be able to ask questions, as well as just anyone who's interested in what we are doing with 3 Mile Creek, as well as the entire Greenway initiative. So an opportunity to find out what's going on. It's very exciting what we are planning. It's a long time coming. But this first phase in our district is really exciting, I think, for everyone, and this is your opportunity to find out more about it. So the meetings will be at the Mobile Museum of Art, again, beginning at 9 o'clock throughout the day, but more importantly, for those who are working and not able to get away during the daytime, we will have a 4 until 6 o'clock p.m. meeting as well, all at the Mobile Museum of Art. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Gregory. Mrs. Rich?
Oh, thank you very much. I'd like to announce that the mapofmobile.org is a site where people can go to give their feedback on our new zoning codes. And this is a very exciting process for the city of Mobile. District 6 will be having a meeting on February 19th, which is a Tuesday at 6:30 to 8 p.m. And at that meeting will be an opportunity to learn about the changes and to also make your opportunity for when you do respond. You have till March 8th. The city will have the website open, but in order to respond appropriately, I was very pleased to be able to work with Shayla Biko and having whoever she appoints to come out to talk to citizens so that they can perhaps learn how the site works, where to go for the information, and what the changes are, what they can expect from the new code. So again, this is an opportunity, and it will be at the Senior Center, which is on Hillcrest from 6:30 to 8 p.m. I will be doing robocalls again. That was successful instead of a postcard to citizens. And it's Tuesday, February 19th. And again, it's the mapformobile.org for people to go on to give feedback about the new zoning codes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Bess. Rich, and we'll hear now from Ms. Rich.
Okay, thank you. I would like to announce that today at Dumas Wesley Center at 4 p.m., there will be a meeting on the 3 Mile Creek Greenway. Those people who are interested in being updated on what's going on 3 Mile Creek are advised to join me up there today at 4 p.m. I would like to also announce that my District 1 community meeting will be held on Thursday, February 21st at 6 p.m. at Dumas Wesley Center, 126 Mobile Street. And all our citizens to mark your calendar to please join us on February the 21st on Thursday at Dumas Wesley Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Mr. Daves. I just want to encourage citizens who live in District 2, our meeting relative to the Greenway Initiative. Also today at 4 p.m. at Dumas Wesley. So if you have interest, if you'd like to offer any comment, opinion, this is just one of the ways that you'll be able to do that. Of course, if you'd like to contact me personally, I don't have an issue with that. 509-4239, lmans@citymobile.org. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. I'm trying to be a part of it, working for you in District 2. And these are great and exciting initiatives occurring, but you don't want to wait till the shovel is on the ground to tell us your opinion. We need to know your perspectives now so that we can incorporate them into the planning. A good idea is not worth much if it just stays there in your head. Share, because it's all of our city, and we want to make it the best that it absolutely can be. I want to recognize our moderator. Thank you for being here today, Maria Frazier. And we also have an international superstar with us, Mr. Cleon Jones. And we're glad to have him. He's one of the distinguished citizens, too, along with his lovely wife. Very active in the African Plateau community, with a heart for this city. We got to find a way to appropriately recognize him in our community. I'm going to be working on that, putting a committee together to do that, because he doesn't just dress up like today. You can often find him on a tractor, cutting somebody's yard or some overgrown lot. It's that kind of dedication that is rare, and I'm glad to appreciate him and Mr. Olinsky as well, longtime business leader with a heart for downtown when no one else was really thinking about it. And so we appreciate you. I want to publicly thank you for your leadership and your continued interest in downtown Mobile. I believe the best is yet to come, not only for downtown, but Africatown, for the city of Mobile. We won't recognize this community in 10 years. And I hope and pray the good Lord lets me be here to be part of all this great, phenomenal, transformative. That's all I wanted to say. Reverend Aubrey Hill passed. Reverend Aubrey Hill, longtime minister, pastor in this community, passed over the last 2 weeks. I don't know, I know we sent a resolution, but I just wanted to, he left a mark here. And I think it merits us acknowledging his passing, and letting his church family know that we certainly will continue to keep them in our prayers. Mr.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I just want to say I appreciate you helping to carve out a slogan for District 1D. And Mary, I'm going to try to get that down. He said, the best is yet to come for District 1. Y'all got that? The best is yet to come for District 1.
Sound like one to me.
Sound like one to me, too.
All right. Wonderful. Any announcements from administration? Well, if not, do I hear a motion? Proper motion is second. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor? Opposed?
No.